Okay, it's
Subhanallah.
live stream. Oh, can adjudicators check your chat? Boleh ke hantar kat chat? Tak boleh. Nak hantar link untuk the apa? Google Form, Google Sheet.
Yes, Alhamdulillah dah lepas.
Dah lepas.
Dah lepas. Masalah apa tu? Corporate. Google Form, Google Sheet. Afghanistan.
Okay.
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 Dah lepas.
Dah lepas. Masalah apa tu?
Okay, maybe we can start. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Everyone can hear me?
Yes. Can.
Yes.
Alright. Good morning, everyone. Alright, the House will come to order. I am pleased to welcome you all to this semi-final Vice Chancellor Debate Cup 2021. Today's motion is this House believes that the West should cooperate with the Taliban in Afghanistan. Each debater will have 7 minutes to deliver his or her remarks. I would like to remind the members of the floor they may only raise point of information in the constructive speech and only after the first minute and before the last minute of speech. Also, please ensure that your internet connection is stable. Okay, now let me introduce the debaters from the government side. We have Prime Minister Maisara, Deputy Prime Minister Arifah, Government Whip Sharifah. And from the opposition side, we have Leader of Opposition Daniel, Deputy Leader of Opposition Shahinda, Opposition Whip Khadijah. I would also introduce our adjudicators. Sorry, Shazwani, Najmi. I'm sorry if I just say the short name. Atika, Amir Hamzah, and Safwan. Okay. Are there any inquiries before we start? I think not. Okay, with that. We should start our debate with we should start our debate from Prime Minister of government side to deliver her speech. Here. Prime Minister Maisara.
I'm sorry. Suddenly my prime minister and my government and we kicked out from the Zoom. Her laptop still hang right now. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Sure. Maisara?
I'm here. I'm Sharifah. I'm here. Sorry, saya take a while.
Alright. Maisara, are you okay?
Sekejap ya, kami tengah arrange Maisara.
Dia terkeluar lagi.
Sekejap. Mana dia? Mana kau? Alamak.
Nampaknya.
Nak tanya, boleh ke kalau kami punya first speaker masuk kena telefon and tak buka kamera?
Tak buka kamera?
Tak buka kamera sebab laptop dia jam, so kalau masuk pakai telefon boleh.
Okey, boleh.
Okey, sekejap.
Hello everyone, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, I will start, yeah. I cannot open my camera because I use my phone and yeah. So sorry for that. I will start, yeah?
Alright, you may start.
Okay, thank you. One, two, three. Assalamualaikum and a very pleasant morning to Miss Speaker, honorable educators, accurate timekeepers, the opponents, and as well as the teammate members and people on the floor. With the motion today is this House believes that the West country should cooperate with the Taliban in Afghanistan. And our stand is simple, which we believe that the United States should cooperate in diplomatic ways with the Taliban in Afghanistan. And for the characterization, we conclude that the West country is to be specified as the United States of America, and the cooperate means in a diplomatic ways, which the Taliban, which is the current government in Afghanistan. The reason that we want for the United States to cooperate with the Taliban government is because the West country, which is the USA, had drawn down from Afghanistan, and the Taliban actually now has taken over the power and act as an official government in Afghanistan. And Taliban shouldn't be seen as a terrorist group by the United States, but as an official government who lead the sovereign country, which previously the USA has the history with Afghanistan. So why don't the USA still continue to cooperate with the Taliban in Afghanistan, but in the diplomatic ways? Well, it could be that the Taliban regulation and agreement is restricted with the USA regulation agreement, but actually the Afghanistan could actually gain profit from the USA in a diplomatic relationship, which offer a long-lasting truce between the Taliban and USA. would rather focus on the potential development in the future to minimize damages rather than aggrieving or the current damage suffered. So it is also to improve the lives of Afghanistan in terms of their lifestyle, countries, in economic sector, and also in their education, as currently Afghanistan right now is full of chaos. So it is important for the United States and the Taliban in Afghanistan to cooperate in the diplomatic ways. So before that, we want from the side of the opposition to prove that without the cooperation of the USA, which it is a developed country, could Taliban government be able to lead the Afghanistan in a better way? All right, before that, let us look at the arguments on the side of the government, which is first, we want to strengthen the Afghanistan capabilities in leading the country of Afghanistan. And second, because it is a win-win situation when we want USA to cooperate with the Taliban government. And third, because of the mutual benefit and that will be able to be produced an eternity truth. All right. For my first argument, it is because we want to strengthen the Afghanistan's capabilities as a partner with the USA, and also to improve the lives of the Afghan people by allowing the USA resources to be invested in helping the Afghanistan to improve its security, governance, institutions, and economy. And many countries with weak governments actually suffer from what's known as the resource curse, and in which that the efforts to exploit natural resources fail to provide benefits to local people and the domestic economy. But with the cooperation with the USA in the Taliban, with the Taliban in Afghanistan, could actually increase the economy of the Afghanistan. So the USA previously has a strong bilateral partnership, which is guided by the Strategic Partnership Agreement, or SPA, between the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan and the United States, signed in May 2012, which outlines respective economic and political commitments, as well as by the bilateral security agreement signed in September 2014. And it outlines mutual security understandings. And this will bring benefits in terms of security in Afghanistan if they claim that the USA could occupy or terrorize the Afghanistan. But the US previously has the guidance and outlines in terms of the security, and this security could actually be as a borders for the USA, between the USA and Afghanistan, if they're afraid that US could, occupy the Afghanistan instead. And also their strategy for Central Asia was announced that in February 2020 that it mentioned the expanding and maintaining support for stability in Afghanistan, as well as strengthening connectivity between Central Asia and Afghanistan. So there's a lot of strategies that could provide for the Afghanistan, but if the Taliban government stop or cease from receiving all this help from the other countries, especially from the USA, how could they wanted to maintain the Afghanistan, or wanted to develop in Afghanistan when the Taliban government is a new government, because previously the government was led by the Afghan president, which is the Ashraf Ghani, but the president himself actually has fled to other country out of the Afghanistan when the Taliban started to conquer the Afghanistan. And hence we want for the USA to allow for this, we want USA to have the cooperation with the Taliban government in the diplomatic relationship, since it will actually help them for their own betterment. And for that, I raise my case. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister Maisara, for the speech. The speaker spoke for 6 minutes and 23 seconds. Now, I would like to call upon the Leader of Opposition, Daniel, to deliver his speech. The floor is yours.
Am I audible?
Yes.
You guys hear me? On today's motion, this House believes that the West should cooperate with Taliban in Afghanistan. So we, as the opposition side, are really proud to present our views against with this motion. First of all, I would like to explain what are going to happen in the first place. What are going to happen in the future if this motion implement in the world right now. First, whatever result that are going to came out from what government trying to do right now is everything is based on assumption, and at the end of the day nothing will happen because the Afghanistan doesn't want to cooperate with Taliban, and they just want only USA, and they will and at the end of the day they will not use anything that have been provided in this cooperation. So before that, I would like to rebut some of the point from the government side, which is from the Prime Minister. There is a situation that have been came out from the Prime Minister, and we as the opposition side believe that of course the Taliban government can govern well the way they want. So, and can you imagine or think of it? What are the Taliban's wants actually in the first place? First, what are the Taliban's want is power, and of course, second, Afghanistan. So if this motion implement in this, if this motion implement at the first place, they can easily get both of it, power and the Afghanistan. So when this happen, it will create more tension towards the Russia and China, and this point will be elaborated more by the second speaker. So let's move on with our case as the opposition side. So our end goals in this debate is we don't want the West wasting their money and works without getting any benefits, and our burden of proof for today is we are going to prove to you how this cooperation will not give strong benefits to the stakeholders, and the second burden of proof is how by cooperating with Taliban can create more tension. And what we want the government side to prove to us is why they want to make a cooperation with the Taliban, and what are the benefits toward the stakeholders, because we understand that the West is really powerful rather than Taliban, but why must they cooperate with them who is extremely dangerous in the first place? So let's move on to our case split. So I am the leader of opposition. I would like to talk about how the cooperation is not guaranteed and how cooperation with Taliban will not give any benefits to the stakeholders. And my second speaker will talk about how it is a redundant effort tarnish the perception to the West. So let's move on to my points. So let's talk about the stakeholders, the first stakeholders, which is the West. So does Afghanistan give any benefits to the West, not only the USA, not the other country of rather than USA? Does this country which is Afghanistan give benefits to them? So, and does they use all the things that have been provided by the West? So, and what we can see right now, only the USA government give everything to the Afghanistan. So we believe that rather than the West cooperating with Taliban, or US itself cooperating with Taliban, they should undergo what have been doing in the past, which is the US control the Afghanistan. So since 2001, the US government has invested more than 787.4 million in promoting gender equality in Afghanistan, and including mental health, girls' education, and women's political participation. Overall, we can see that US support for women's rights in Afghanistan and always remain subordinate to other strategic goals. So we can see that US government itself has already succeed to help the people in Afghanistan without having any cooperation with other people. And can you imagine that having this cooperation with Taliban, which is the Afghanistan people itself doesn't want the Taliban to govern their government, and we can see there are many harms that will come out with. For example, it will produce riots to the citizens of Afghanistan because they don't want people. They don't want Taliban to govern. They don't want this Taliban cooperate with the West. So second stakeholder, which is the Taliban. So what I have told you before, that the Afghanistan people will stand up and against the Taliban. So we can see right now how we can see in the past how was this administration of Taliban itself, how they treat women, how they treat women, how they treat the children. We can see right now this Taliban is extremely dangerous. So we don't want what have been happened in the past happen again in the future, because what we are trying to say right now, we don't want people create riots against this Taliban, and it will affect also to the West, because when they're having when they have this cooperation, so which means that they are working together. So when they attack the Taliban, and of course Taliban cooperate with this the West, so the West also will get affected. So at the end of the day, we don't want the West wasting their money and works without getting any benefits, and we don't want people getting riots in the Afghanistan, and we want that this motion being rejected, and the Taliban should not be governed in should not be being cooperate with the West. And I think that's all from me. I would like to oppose this case. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader Opposition Daniel, for the speech. The speaker spoke for 7 minutes, 32 seconds. Now, we should hear the speech from Deputy Prime Minister Arifah. Here.
Am I audible?
Yes. Okay, you may start.
I will be speaking from 3, 2, 1. Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone. So we from the government and also the opposition side, the educators and all the members of the floor. Our motion today is that this House believes that the West should cooperate with the Taliban in Afghanistan. So I have two jobs today. First one is to rebut the opposition's arguments, and the second one is to give two arguments from the government side. So first on the rebuttals, the opposition had said that nothing is happening right now in Taliban government, but they also said about the extremism of Taliban on defying rights, defying them to go to school. Taliban can govern well independently in the way they want. But I see that they are contradicting in their statements, because they also said that nothing is happening, and then they also said that Taliban is defying rights. Which one Taliban we want to say about, the previous Taliban or the nowadays Taliban, because we already know that there is difference between the previous Taliban and the current Taliban. The opposition is still living in the past Taliban, and that we have different between the past Taliban and now. The PM did not cater, and the Prime Minister did not cater at all how diplomatic way of cooperation is harmful. And he also kept on saying about riots. Look at the bigger picture, please. And what do you mean Afghanistan doesn't want to cooperate with Taliban? Taliban is governing the Afghanistan now. And what do you mean also by Afghanistan has nothing to offer? Afghanistan has natural resources. They have many of them. And I will explain in my points later. And Taliban might seem violent throughout history, but the fact that the Taliban still made agreement with US, they are not completely barbaric. We are shaped to our past, not to define them, not to be defined by them. And that the treatment Taliban gave to Afghanistan civilian is a proof that they are lack of administration and have a room to improve. And that is why we want the United States to help them to improve in terms of administration. And the fact that you are stating that we are assuming the outcome, it also applies to opposition side only. Next, I will go to the government arguments. Our second argument is on the existence in the administration development in Afghanistan. USA is having to invest in Afghanistan for so long in controlling every aspect of the management of Afghanistan, knows how to manage the administration well, and can be helpful to the development of the country, which is Afghanistan. Their foreign policy, which is US policy, has caused major destruction to the country, and the US are responsible to fix the destruction. The current situation in Afghanistan is that the Taliban continues to object elections, at least elections that could remove it from power. The political prospects in Afghanistan are not pretty. At least the existing civil war, killing tens of thousands of Afghans annually, will eventually ease. But the Taliban is heading to power, and the new political dispensation will mean a significant weakening of political and human rights, civil liberties, and pluralistic process. How can this diplomatic relation benefit the US? As we know, Afghanistan is sitting on $1 trillion worth of minerals the world desperately needs. Afghanistan, having been well known for it as a source of precious metal, will be helpful to the development of the technology of the world with the assistance from the US, of course, with the establishment of the new Taliban government in Afghanistan. Security challenges, a lack of infrastructure, and severe droughts have prevented the extraction most valuable minerals in the past, and that is unlikely. The extraction of the minerals is unlikely to change soon under the Taliban control when there are only new government in the Afghanistan. Thirdly, our third point is that the relation between the US and also the Taliban, it is a win-win situation. Okay, we are answering a BOP through our points. Okay, it is why because it has a mutual benefit and it will be able to produce an eternity truce. We all know that US and Taliban had a long history of war and destruction, which caused a lot of casualties, especially for Afghan people. With the war that created an endless chaos, had made the Afghans suffer for a long time, and this is the time to stop the suffering. US might be able to provide the Afghan resources which are crucial for the country development. US can offer to help Afghanistan development because US itself hold the position of developed country. With those offers, Taliban might see US as a potential diplomatic partner to secure their country for a long term. Afghanistan is one of the poorest nations in the world right now, however, in 2010, US military officials and geologists revealed that the country, which lies the crossroad of Central and South Asia, was setting on mineral deposit worth nearly $1 trillion. As I said, if we are sticking to the Taliban government right now, the new Taliban government for the current, they would not try to expand the potential of this precious mineral, but that is why the Taliban needs the help, the assistance from the US, and that is why we want this diplomatic to be true. Already, the Taliban encircles at least 12. Right now, the Taliban encircles at least 12 provincial capitals, and without the US air power holding back its offensiveness, the Taliban can pounce on and hold many of them. Worse yet, the existing civil war can easily intensify into a far bloodier, fragmented, and protracted one before the Taliban arrives in power for who knows how long. All of these likely losses to the democratic processes, rights, and humanitarian concerns are immensely tragic, but the United States could no longer reverse them. So hence, our stance from the government side is that we believe that United States should cooperate in diplomatic ways with the Taliban in Afghanistan, and that our worst case scenario in this situation is that the US might be subjected to Taliban's regulations and agreement when we want them to have diplomatic arrangements, and that the best case scenario is that the US and also the Taliban gain profit from the diplomatic relationship, which offer a long-lasting truce between Taliban and the US. And also the urgency is we want to improve. Why we want this to happen? Because we want to improve the lives of the Afghanistan in terms of their lifestyle, economic, and sector. And our burden of proof to the opposition side is that without the cooperation of the US, which is the developed country, could Taliban government would be able to rise up as an independent country. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister Arifah for the speech. Now I would like to call upon Deputy Leader Opposition Shahinda. The floor is yours.
Hello, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Am I audible?
Yes.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the floor, working with your enemy isn't always the answer, especially when your enemy is an extremist organization which clearly oppress women. Even though it happened in the past, there is no guarantee that they will do as such the same in the future. And I will further elaborate to you why do our side believe so. But before that, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning I bid to everybody present into this hall. To this hall. So my job today is to provide a few lines of rebuttal from what coming up from the the government side, and I will give my positive contributions on why it is a redundant effort to try to cooperate with the Taliban and how it can tarnish the impression of it can tarnish a global impression towards the West and even towards the Islam itself. So first, a few lines of rebuttals, right? The flaws coming up from the government side is that they fail to understand what Taliban actually want and how they actually work, right? Taliban is an extremist. They work on a very conservative and firm Islamic Sharia law, right? In which women can even leave their house, they can even go to school, for example. Things that oppress women, which is not the correct representation of Islam, right? And they talk about on how there is a difference in the past and the current, and how they are not completely barbaric. In which we believe that this is a very shameful idea that government is trying to bring, because we are realists. We see and we saw. I mean, the whole world saw what the Taliban did to Afghanistan. The whole world saw how even Afghan people itself don't want Taliban to govern them, right? So this is extremists that we are trying to talk about. These are people who are not good. This is not a political party that you are trying to nurture and bring and help them to govern a country, right? So the only the main goal that we see from the government side thus far is that clearly their main goal as government is for United States to hold the resources that Afghanistan have, because they keep claiming how Afghanistan have natural resources worth trillions and whatnot. But we believe that this is just another act of exploitation of US to other country under the mask of helping Afghanistan, in which we believe, are you really trying to help people of Afghanistan, or are you trying to hoard the natural resources that they have? So moving on to my first point, why it is a redundant effort. We have, like what I've already told you earlier, we have to understand the nature of Taliban as an extremist who takes stance on firm Sharia law, and religion is the first claim and their first excuse in any decision that they make. Okay, so we believe that with the nature of Taliban like this, right, it will lower the chance of negotiation for US to even negotiate with Taliban, because let's say US want to provide power to Taliban, right, to govern Afghanistan well, for example. But do you think that the Taliban would accept power in exchange of their religious belief? considering to the fact that they are an extremist religious group? I don't think so, because how my first speaker already told you, the thing that Taliban want is to govern Afghanistan in their way. If to govern Afghanistan in this strict Sharia law where women have to wear burqa and whatnot, where they simply smack people on the street. So this is not a good representation of an organization that the West or US would want to work with. So it is a very bad move to begin with. So second, on why it is a redundant effort, right? Even the government have already told us how the US have worked for so long in the USA, how on how a lot of billions of money and where there's a billion of money, and how army were deployed to the Afghanistan to take care of the Afghan borders and whatnot. And all of those effort for 20 years only for Taliban to simply destroy in a matter of few days, right? When they take over Kabul and whatnot. So we believe that this is not, it doesn't really give like a mutual benefit to the US, because we can clearly see the effort that they are trying to make is not even used by the Afghan people to fight Taliban. So why do we think that they can work well with the Taliban itself, right? And Taliban have already said in their press conference how they don't want any outside interference and intervention, right? Because these extremists with firm belief, because they already told you that they don't want any more outside interference and intervention. So what makes US think that they would that Taliban would even accept this cooperation before 6 years, the POI?
Would you say that Taliban doesn't have the negotiation with the US, but the US and the Taliban actually have signed an agreement for bringing peace to Afghanistan? So that's why the US started to withdraw from Afghanistan. The treaty that were agreed between Taliban and the US happened during Trump's when Donald Trump was the president, right? But there were a lot. Okay, this will lead me to my second point, because there were a lot of retaliation from people of the USA where they don't support this treaty, and we can still see because you said that how they want to bring peace to Taliban, right? The treaty is to bring peace to Taliban, but what is to Afghanistan? But what is happening right now? There is no peace in Afghanistan. People are trying to flee the country. Why? Because Taliban is not being good to them. So this clearly shows that even with a treaty, they are not abiding to the agreement that they made. People still don't live in peace under Taliban. Women still can go to school, and they are still simply shooting people on the street. So that is why we don't see why you want to waste all of this effort to cooperate with an organization that act as such, right? So second, how it tarnish the perception towards the West. Russia and China, they've already stated on how they want to prevent any foreign forces from interfering with Afghanistan issue, right? So when US want to cooperate, like what their side is trying to bring, right? US want to cooperate with Taliban, it can even create even more tension, not only probably to the people of US, but also to Russia and China, because they already want to prevent foreign forces from interfering with this issue, right? So a tension with Russia and China should be the last thing that the West want. They also on how it will tarnish the perception towards the West from the people itself, because there is one thing that Trump and Biden supporters agree in which they have to cut ties or any relation with Afghanistan. So we believe that if US try to cooperate with Afghanistan, people will be angry, and maybe the government of US can even lose support of the people, right? And last but not least, we believe in the long run, it can when the power of Taliban is recognized as something legit or legitimate, people will see how the world or US accept extremists, accept religious extremists, and it can increase hate crimes towards Islam. With that, thank you.
Thank you to the Deputy Leader Opposition, Shahinda, for the speech. Now, I would like to call upon the Government Whip, Sharifah, to deliver her speech. The floor is yours.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Is it, I want to set my timer. Alright. Right. Right. I will start my speech at 3, 2, and 1. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I bid to everyone present here for today. There are 3 things I'll be doing as the government whip. First, I will clarify the context of the debate and provide rebuttals. Second, I will compare the case brought by both sides of the House and tell you why we understand the debate better. And third, I will show you the outcome of the debate and reaffirm our stance. So, as we know, we got the motions of this House believe that the West country should cooperate with the Taliban of Afghanistan. And what the government stance is we believe that United States should cooperate in diplomatic ways. Highlighted that diplomatic ways with the Taliban in Afghanistan. So we also highlighted to you the urgency. The urgency is to improve the life of Afghanistan in terms of their lifestyle, economic sector, technology sector, and so many sectors that are affected due to the current situation right now. So next, I will go to the clashes. So there are a few clashes in this, in which how the opposition keep denying the Taliban as a official government, and then what we are trying to do in this motion today is we want to improve the lifestyle of the Afghanistan, as we already know that Afghanistan is a poor country. So in need to help the poor country, we have to relate the relationship with the developed country. And then if Taliban cooperates and receives strong support, isn't it one of the ways to recover the current state of Afghanistan? Like even if the people of the Afghanistan not what we say, some of them is not support the Taliban as a government. However, the Taliban as an official government, speaking as the leader of the country, of course, would like to develop the country better. And we emphasize how mineral resources can help the local in Afghanistan. We are not saying only at the side of the US. We are saying that it is a win-win situation. It also helps the developed country, and it also helps the local of Afghanistan. It is not solely the interest towards the leaders only, dear opposition. And why you kept saying that Taliban is the enemy of the Afghanistan? Taliban has become an official government, and it can be seen by the support of many Afghanistan by raising their new official flags. Some may hate on them. Same with our government. Some of us hate our government, so some may hate on them due to the old history of the Mujahideen in 2001. But the Taliban has gone through reform and new leader has taken over. After all, the Taliban has taken the power, and the current situation of Afghanistan is a poor country. We want to help them to improve their own country by making relationship in diplomatic ways with developed country. At least this is the best way to help them to improve their country, their current situation. Do we need to remain stagnant while ignoring their poor country? So the opposition leader said that there is nothing happening in Afghanistan. What do you mean nothing? There is surprising news of Afghan man fell from the sky when the video was widely spread to 1,000. And yes, did you know that the Afghan people had started to resent? I'm sorry. What we are trying to say that opposition is still living in the past Taliban. Now we have a different Taliban, and as it gives more rights. And what do you mean Afghanistan doesn't want to cooperate with Taliban? You already know, we already know Taliban is governing the Afghanistan now. And yeah, Sorry. So what we are trying to bring in our motion today is we want to improve the economic sector by diplomatic way, not in kind of, you keep on saying of riots, but you did not provide how it helps us, how it helps the Taliban people in terms of the economy, since we are talking about diplomatic way right now. And so that is why we say that this house believe that US should cooperate in the diplomatic way with the Taliban Afghanistan. Because if Afghan started to have diplomatic relay with the USA, other countries will start to see the potentials of Afghanistan country, as well as now other country as well wanted to make the diplomatic relay with the Afghanis, as they have proven their capabilities as a partner. Why? Because of the USA is a well-known veto power country among the international councils, and now they make a diplomatic relation with them. And yeah, we said to you, we want this by having the cooperations in diplomatic way, it will assist in administration of Afghanistan. US, as they had invested in Afghanistan before, so by having diplomatic relation with the US, Afghanistan can have a more systematic administration. They are now a new government. That is why by having this diplomatic relation, it can hold Afghanistan to be a better independent country. And it is also a win-win situation which is beneficial for both countries. Afghanistan can have assistance from the US in governing the country in terms of political, economy, and so on. As US is a developed country, both countries can work on each other. US can benefit from the mineral resources from Afghanistan, and Afghanistan can help them to develop it and prosper it better. And I want to rebut what the government are trying to say, that Taliban might seem to be violent throughout the history. The fact that Taliban might still make the agreement with the US, they are not completely barbaric. We are shaped by our past, but not defined by them. You have to know that. And little that the opposition know. Little did the opposition know. Recently, the Taliban vowed to respect women better and forgive people that fought them, because previous Taliban have made the rule how women can go outside from their house and etc. Those rigid rules. But now they are saying in respect and give better chance for women. From this, we can tell that the Taliban is negotiable, and of course, when cooperating with West country, would lead them better. So and it's not only US that say that Taliban have good resources. It's also Tesla company, Elon Musk also said how valuable mineral in Afghanistan has. So however, the opposition, I cannot see how the opposition saying that what is the bad effect of having the diplomatics way with the developed country, and you did not engage with us in terms of diplomatic way. You keep saying on the war some things like that. So that is all from us. I raise my case here. Thank you.
Thank you to the government, Sharifah. The speaker spoke for 7 minutes and 9 seconds. Now, we should hear the speech from the opposition whip, Khadijah. Here. All right, you may start.
Hello? Am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, there was a problem with my mic. Okay, just a moment, sorry. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, so sorry, I need to check again whether my mic is working. So, am I still audible?
Yes, you are still audible.
Okay, I cannot see the timer. Sorry. Or do I set my own? Okay, thank you so much. I'm so sorry. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good morning to the chairperson, to the honorable panel of judges, to the vigilant timekeeper, to my fellow friends from the opposition side, to my fellow opponents from the government side, and last but not least, members of the hall. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we really need to be serious on today's debate, okay? Because it's not just a simple issue or even a simple economy issue. This is on the turn point of an international problem, okay? So that what the government stands for today is that they want the US to be cooperating with the Taliban in Afghanistan. They want the West, when the motion today say that the West should be cooperating with the Taliban in Afghanistan, they have narrowed it down to the US only. And when they say cooperating, that it is in diplomatic ways. Okay. Let's from like the opposition side, what we believe in is that why we don't think that the US should cooperate with the Taliban is that because one is that it is just a waste of effort, and number two is that because it's a redundant effort, and also because it is redundant effort because of the perception that the West already have on Afghanistan anyway. Okay, so I think that the government side has been rather optimistic and very idealistic in their approach today. They say that the Taliban is better, so we shouldn't judge people from their past. But the thing is, even though they have promised, they have vowed, we are yet to see the implementation of those vows. We are yet to see the result. And for you to have that kind of dangerous optimistic way without knowing what can happen next is something very detrimental, not just to the not to the Afghan people, but also to the world as a whole. What you are also implying is that the US should be cooperating with the Taliban when you say that the Taliban should not be viewed as a terrorist group. Can you see now on the news how people are much more skeptical of the Taliban, be it even like from the past until now, because people have seen how the Taliban has worked. And so when you say you don't want to view Taliban as a terrorist group, can you really make sure that the UK or any other countries view Taliban as not as a non-terrorist group anyway, because they are still extremists, right? And like I said, the world is still very much skeptical. And your first point, going from the government side, you say that we believe that US is capable of leading the Afghanistan into a better economic state, right? Into a better governing state. Okay, I think we should understand this. Okay, when you say leading, right? When you are saying helping, like my second speaker has spoken, how are you like very sure that this is not just the US taking advantage of the situation to then occupy the state? Because as we have seen, the US is not really doesn't have the best track record helping other countries, you see, because you can see the problem in Iraq. It has not, I'm sorry, not yet. In Iraq is still very much unstable. And when you say that this can help the new government, the Taliban, to improve their way of governing, okay, I think we already know that, and even you have said that there was a government where before the Taliban, okay, there was an Afghanistan government where the US were, the one that is backed by the US, right? So we can see now that even before the Taliban, with the government that the US is helping, what has happened to that government now? Ashraf Ghani, where is he now? Ashraf Ghani has been fled. Okay, has even fled the country. So when you say that this is the US is capable of helping renew a government, helping building a government, where is that government now? The government has fallen to the Taliban just as easy. Ashraf Ghani has fled. Other ministers has fled. The government did not even put up a fight. And that is why we believe that we don't need any more intervention from any other countries, even more so from the US. Okay, and you say that is a win-win situation. Like we said, this can be a major turn point when they say that you want to help, okay? This is a win-win situation. How can you make sure? How can we make sure that the US and the Taliban can really split into a 50-50 benefit for both parties? And you say that they have minerals, and those minerals can be exploited. Okay, the US is such a bigger country a bigger force compared to the Taliban, and if you say that the Taliban are not as experienced in the and help in managing their economy, isn't there a big chance for the US to swoop in and take all those minerals and then exploit it? It's such a dangerous thought, really. Okay, and then you say that there's an eternity truce. Eternity truce. We have seen from the Trump administration that they have signed a treaty, but even so, the Taliban has taken over, and then that even from that treaty, they want to cut ties with Afghanistan anyway. So when you propose this kind of absurd motion, and without thinking of all the detrimental effects that it can have on so many stakeholders, I think, and we think from the opposition side, that we should not accept this motion in the first place. Okay, and you say that the Taliban is now Taliban is an official government now. You say that people will support that the government will help the people. Okay, but the thing is, you have to understand this very clearly. Governing does not mean cooperation. Okay, governing a country does not mean that the people in your country will support you, and this is proven very easy in China. In China, they have been what they are doing is, okay, China is it's a socialist country, right? And so even now, the people of China don't truly support the government. Even people in Hong Kong are even back then rioting, and even now are protesting against China. So what do you mean when the government and the people are going to cooperate to each other just because the Taliban is governing, right? And so that is why from our side, we believe that this is just wasting the effort, because the Taliban are so very strict on their beliefs, their religious belief, that the chances of negotiating ever happening and those diplomatic ways even being accepted by the Taliban is just not possible. So we don't have to waste effort on such a thing. Okay, and then they also redundant effort again, because the religion is their first claim, and just lowering chances of negotiation. And like we have said, the spokesperson don't even want any other intervention in the first place. And how Russia and China are going to do their best to prevent any other foreign forces intervening. How do you say? Any other foreign forces to invade. Okay, so this will in turn create such an horrible international tension, which is a lot more dangerous in the long run. And that is why we from the opposition side truly oppose this motion.
Thank you to the opposition with Khadijah. The speaker spoke exceed than 8 minutes. Now, both the government and opposition are being given 1 minute to prepare for their reply speech. The time is up. I call upon the speaker from the opposition side to deliver their reply speech. Here.
Okay. Sorry.
Who will be the speaker for the reply speech from the opposition side?
I'm sorry, I will.
All right.
Into this reply speech, I will highlight the flaws that came up from the government side, and I will give a few comparison of points in which point still stands and which point have already fall from the get-go. And at the end of the day, what the government side is trying to what their side is trying to prove and how is that wrong in any sense. Okay, so first, they repeatedly ask us the burden of proof from our, they repeatedly ask us to prove, can Taliban govern Afghanistan independently without the interference or without cooperation from US? We tell you, yes, they can, because they have their own way and they have their own policy that they would want to implement. And this policy are really parallel with what the US with the belief of US or the West countries in general, right? Things like freedom of women, for example. A lot of policies that Taliban have is not in line with what principle of the US and West countries. So we tell you, yes, Taliban can govern Afghanistan themselves by the way that they want. So moving on to the point comparison, right? So the problem with the government side is that there are a toxic optimist throughout this debate. We are realists. They talk about on how there will be a win-win situation, how Taliban is negotiable, and how at the same time they can use the natural resources for the development of Afghanistan and whatnot. But we have already told you from the second and also the third speaker how even the latest press conference from the castle of from the Taliban itself on how they already told you they don't want any more interference and they don't want any more outside interference for Afghanistan, right? So what is your guarantee that they are even negotiable? Because they stand on the they stand on the means of religion, right? So we are talking about religion, which is an aspect that not that extremists especially are not really willing to trade with anything else, because it's religion. It's an aspect that we all know how strong it is in someone's principle, right? So also they talk about and how we can't judge people from the past. We tell you our side learn from the past. We see what the Taliban did, right? My third speaker told you how even though there are promises made, even though there are press conferences made, right? But we are yet to see the improvement that Taliban is trying to do, because like even the example that were given by the third speaker from the government side, they talk about on how there are people falling off from the airplane from the Kabul airport in order to flee Afghanistan. Why? Because they don't want to be under the Taliban government. So we can't see the guarantee that you are trying to say that how Taliban will bring more improvement when Afghan people itself are trying to flee Afghanistan. We also talk about on how it is possible to create tension among US and to the Russia and China itself, because they don't want any interference with Afghanistan. And we also talk about on how you can tarnish the impression of people globally towards the country, the West country or USA when you cooperate with Taliban, because the extreme mean that they are trying to bring. And this is the biggest flaw in which they don't even try to rebut this point, right? We believe that the impression of people and also tension that might be created with other country is very important for a country as powerful as they claim US is, to look after and to cater to, right? But they don't even try to rebut, so this point still stands strong. And also, the biggest two that is not guaranteed into this debate, that first, US will not US will not exploit the natural resources for their own for the sake of their own good, and how the Taliban would want to even change policy. And also both sides talk about how USA have invested a lot in the development of Afghanistan. Their side talk about it, and our side talk about it too. But we tell you, we don't want to repeat this kind of mistake. So what the government side is trying to bring at the end of the day is just another form of colonization that you disguise as an attempt to help the people of the country. Just what happened in Malaya and other country in the past, right? With that, thank you.
Thank you for the reply speech. Now to conclude, let's welcome the speaker from the government side to give their reply speech.
Am I audible?
Yes, yeah. Debat.
I'll be setting my time. I'll be speaking from 3, 2, 1. Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone. And today we will be in reply speech. The most reliable way to predict future is to create it, quoted Abraham Lincoln. So let me show you why this government catches and solves the issue better than the opposition, and thus should win this case. Our stance from the government side is that we believe that United States should cooperate in diplomatic ways with the Taliban in Afghanistan. We also mentioned in our point that if Afghan started to have diplomatic relationship with USA, other countries will start to see the potential of Afghanistan country, as well as now other countries as well. We wanted to make the diplomatic relationship with Afghanistan, as they have proven their capabilities as a partner. Why? Because of the USA is a well-known veto power country among the international councils, and now they make a diplomatic relationship with Afghanistan. And it also exists in the administration of Afghanistan, the US, as they had invested in Afghanistan before. So by having diplomatic relationship with US, Afghanistan can have a more systematic administration. There are a new government, the Afghanistan is a new government, and that is why by having this diplomatic relationship, it can hold Afghanistan to be a better independent country. And it is also a win-win situation, and it's beneficial for both USA and also the Afghanistan, as Afghanistan can have assistance from the US in governing the country in terms of political, economy, and so on, as a developed country again. Both countries can work on each other, and US can benefit from the mineral resources of Afghanistan, help them to develop it and prosper the benefit. We as a government also had catered more to solve the issue when the opposition did not do anything. They keep on refusing from having diplomatic relationship with US, but they did not suggest what way we will have this Afghanistan, the new government, the Taliban, to build the country after the US invasion. At least we foresee if this cooperation works, it will help the whole nation, regardless of the harsh allegations or assumptions coming from the opposition. From the opposition side, they also stay stagnant, saying Taliban are extremists, and keep assuming on what will happen next. This seems like they're defying that the Taliban is governing the Afghanistan right now. And why should you refusing the thing that is happening right now? The opposition are confused whether they're against the USA or Taliban, when it seems they attack the Taliban being the official government, and with the extremist approach and more. They keep referring to Taliban as terrorists or extremists, and not in angle of Taliban as the current government of Afghanistan. They keep saying that USA should not work with Taliban, but do they realize the Taliban is governing them? They keep saying that USA shouldn't work with Taliban and people of Afghanistan, but it is already happening. They keep saying that Taliban can be independent, they can work by themselves, they're refusing the diplomatic relation with USA, but well, this is new government, they need the relationship to help them, to assist them, not leading, but to assist them in organizing the newly formed country with the new government, Taliban. How does it make our issue today any better? How by refusing diplomatic relationship with US, it can help to improve the lives of Afghanistan in terms of their lifestyle, economic sector, technology sector, so many sectors in Afghanistan that are affected due to the current situation. The opposition also kept saying that the advantage of Taliban, but they did not even provide us the other ways to improve of the Taliban status a situation right now instead of making relationship with other developed countries. If you are realist, if the opposition is realist, then prove us what is the most realistic way to solve this Afghanistan issue and also the improvement of the nation there. You did not even provide any, but they kept on attacking on the advantages of the Taliban. And thus our stance from the government side is that we believe that United States should cooperate in diplomatic ways with the Taliban in Afghanistan, and our position is that we, as the government side, we propose for this motion to be accepted. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, the speaker, for the speech. That is all for this round debate session. On behalf of the House, I thank the adjudicators for their assistance. I congratulate all the debaters on their performance, and I would like to say sorry for any of inconvenience that happened. Now, this was silent, right? All right. So, the adjudicators will be assigned to breakout room, and this will be the end of our debate session. So the debaters may be dismissed.